Straight to the lion's den. Does this testimony make George Zimmerman seem like a vigilante, wannabe cop who's so calm after shooting somebody dead, or an innocent guy who was beaten up and shot Trayvon Martin in self-defense? We're going to debate it. We've got a friend of George Zimmerman. We've got the attorney for Trayvon Martin's family, and we're going to start with her, Natalie Jackson.
I think that you have to put this in context with all the testimony today. Today we heard from George's physician assistant who said that he was seeing a psychologist. So if you put that into context with what John Manolo said, that he was calm, he did not feel like, he didn't think that he was frantic or in shock. And he also said that George Zimmerman was on the phone and had the phone up to his ear when he came outside, and that George Zimmerman dropped the phone. So, I mean, I think you have to, the jury's going to take all this into consideration and wonder what's wrong with George Zimmerman.
All right, Frank Taffy, a supporter of George Zimmerman and a friend.
I believe the conditions were correct for George. He had just been traumatized, and there's a key component here when humans go through a traumatic scene. We have an adrenaline gland that produces adrenaline. And at that time, after he went through the trauma that he did, the adrenaline rush, which is our fight or flight, took over. That's why he was calm in that situation. I'm sure if you've ever been in a fight, and he did notice, since George, the imminent danger of Trayvon being dead in the grass, the danger was over at that point.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing, Rolanda. They made a big deal today, the defense did, about the fact that he didn't flee. But if he had a wannabe cop vigilante mentality, he wouldn't want to flee because he would regard what he did as, well, I'm entitled to do that. So the idea that they made a big deal out of the fact that he said, here's my gun, take it, you know, very, very compliant. So what?
Jane, I agree with you, because I think anybody knows that if you really felt that your life was threatened, that you had been through a battle to save your life and shot somebody, your adrenaline would be going bonkers. You would be very much overly excited. That's just natural human behavior. I don't care what they say in that courtroom.
I disagree.
I know.
Rolanda,
That's
Wendy
human
Murphy.
behavior. You know
Okay,
something?
Wendy Murphy.
I know you disagree. That's pretty much understood. But
Thank
the
you.
fact
Well,
is,
no,
I don't
sorry.
believe
Come
that.
on.
Sorry.
Wendy.
Okay, hey, listen, bottom line, there is no book with a chapter, nor even a footnote, that says, after you kill in self-defense and you're worried about your wife finding out what happened, say this and act like this, not like that. There's no such thing. And I think everyone can agree that how he acted is just as consistent with self-defense as it is consistent with being a vigilante, but it doesn't matter because the objective medical evidence,
Michael Skolnick.
the objective medical evidence proves that he was on the ground being beaten to a cement ground.
Well, to that point, Michael Skolnick, to that point, does the prosecution have to explain why George Zimmerman has injuries to his nose and to the back of his head? Have they done enough to explain that?
No, the issue isn't does George Zimmerman have injuries. We see the injuries. We know he has injuries. No one's refuting that he has injuries. The issue is, did he use deadly force when he didn't have to? There is no evidence that George Zimmerman's life was in danger to the point where he had to use the gun.
Can I address
Frank,
that?
I will finish.
That's not the law.
Frank.
All he needed to face was bodily injury. Don't mistake the law. That is not the law. You can use lethal force in self-defense if you have
absolutely is the law. You have to feel your life is being threatened.
Listen,